Right, hello again, year 5. This is Tuesday's literacy lesson. It's going to be a little different one. We're going to start on Active Inspire here on the flip chart. We're going to move over to a PowerPoint. So, I want to complete these sentences using the subordinate clause. We looked at that yesterday. You should know what you're doing. Once you've finished with that, just write it down in your book so I can see it when you hand it back in on Friday. I'll pause the video and let you go on with it. Right. Your next one. Subordinate clauses can also come in the middle of a sentence, and we can call these embedded clauses because they're embedded in the middle. So here's what we've been looking at. After the party, Mia will go home. But we can also have it here. Mia will, after the party, go home. It's just adding it up. It's taking your level to a little bit of a higher level, which all of you should really be able to do. Right. When it loads, this is your next one. Not sure what's up with my computer here. Still nothing yet. Right, we should be back now, year 5. I had a bit of problems there, but hopefully this will look okay on the final one. So, anyway, we're going to add the subordinate clause to after dinner to the beginning, middle, and end of this sentence. And remember your punctuation, which, of course, in this case is commas. See if you can add different subordinate clauses to beginning, middle, and end of this sentence. I want to see as many examples as I can in your book, just to make sure that you can use this skill properly. Again, with the same one. This one, again, beginning, middle, and end. I want to see examples of all of these here when they load up. So just pause the video after all of them. Should be all of them there. So yeah, I'm expecting to see you just get on with that. Right, I'm going to flip over to PowerPoint now, so hopefully this works nicely. Yep, there we go. Just start the slideshow. When it wants to work. Here we go. Right, I'm sorry about that, year 5. Again, my computer's playing up a little bit. So we're just going to think about astronauts today. I'll try and make that a little bit bigger so you can see it a bit easier. So, today we're going to be looking at the life of an astronaut. So recently, we've looked at 2 astronauts' main lives, haven't we? In Tim Peake and Helen Sharman. We've gone into a lot of detail about their lives because we were writing a biography about them. We were writing about nothing other than their lives, which is really important to do, and we've got on with that really well, which I'm really impressed with you for. We'll move on a little bit. So I want you to make a quick list in your book, just above where we're going to write. I want you to know list what you already know about astronauts and what they do when they're in space, how they train for space. It'd be really interesting to know if you know anything about what they eat in space as well. Don't worry if you don't know anything about that yet. We'll get into that shortly. So just pause the video here. Just get those listed down. So, what are astronauts? An astronaut is a person who is training to travel into space. NASA is the agency that trains United States men and women to serve as commanders, pilots, and mission specialists aboard spacecraft. They have to be highly trained to go out into space. You imagine how much training a lot of people have to do their normal jobs, like the training that I had to do to be a teacher. Or for those of you interested in football, how much training footballers have to do. Imagine that, then double it, triple it, or even times it by 1,000,000,000, because that's how much training astronauts have to be. There's no training that we could do in an ordinary day that would prepare you for time in space, wouldn't it? It's so different to life on Earth, isn't it, going up to space? So, I want you to think about Not only NASA, but obviously we know about the European Space Agency, obviously through Tim Peake. I want you to think about the training that they might have done. Once you finish the video, you're going to be asked to try and find out some of the things that maybe Tim Peake, Helen Sharman, maybe think about other astronauts that you know, such as Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong, Mae Jemison. Go into that, have a think about all the hard work they put into being an astronaut. Think about what they had to do to adapt to living in space. So, we're going to go into now what astronauts wear. So, space is a very challenging place to explore. There is no air in space, so there is nothing to breathe. It is very cold unless the sun is shining onto you, and then, without air to protect you, the rays of the sun would soon burn you. So you imagine how dangerous that is just there. To survive in space, you need a suit that protects your body from heat and cold, and surrounds you with the air to breathe. Space suits are pressurized, meaning they are full of air to support your body, which is why they look so puffed up. So you think they don't look like a normal person. It's not like it's tight to your body, is it? It's really puffed up with lots of air in it for you to breathe. A space suit is like a tiny spaceship for one. It is a very complicated machine with air conditioning, heating, air to breathe, and water to drink. It even has a built-in toilet, all in one. So you imagine how crazy that is. And some space suits attach to a rocket-powered backpack, so almost like a jetpack, which allows the astronaut wearing it to fly around in space. So again, really, really important. We're going to have to look into astronauts. This magazine that we're writing about space, it's not just important about the planets. We know so much about space going into space mainly because of the people who have actually been there. So we need to learn about the people that have been there and what they did up there, how they can even survive up there, and how they can even get there in the first place. And that's why it's so important during this. So that's a picture of the first ever spacesuits. They look very different, don't they? They almost look like they're made out of tin foil. So they were invented 80 years ago, and this is something that they'll wear today when they go up to the ISS. So this is something similar to what Tim Peake was wearing. You can see how different it is. You can see that it looks a lot more technical. You can see around here, you can see it's literally just a helmet and a suit on this one. On this, it's all puffed up. They've got that, a camera. You can see him holding onto his backpack with controls, just floating above Earth. It just looks a lot better and a lot different, doesn't it? Really, 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 really important technology, and again, it's something that we can look into. So, this is what you'll find in a spacesuit of today. So, you can see a computer. It's all attached to a computer, the warning computer. It's got oxygen tanks for you to breathe, water tank for you to have a drink from, a fan separator pump, a containment control cartridge, a battery. Obviously, it's going to need electricity to power it, isn't it? You're not going to be able to find that in space. Life support system. And again, look at all the technology in it. I mean, you compare that to this one, and there's not really a contest, is there? So, you can see all the other stuff here if you want to pause the video and look for it through, but I'll just quickly move on. Right. So, the very first astronauts who went up into space ate some very interesting things. A lot of their food was ground up and put into tubes that look like toothpaste. So imagine you coming to school and squeezing your sandwiches out or your lunch out like toothpaste. It sounds very strange, but that's what they needed to do to get it up there. Today, though, some astronauts have food choices that are pretty much the same ones we have. They can eat chicken, peanut butter, and candy, or what we'd call sweets. They can drink coffee, tea, orange juice. A nutritionist, a person who studies how to make good food choices, carefully plans menus or food choices for astronauts in space so they can stay healthy, and most importantly, they can eat the things that's really important for staying alive. Astronauts even have an oven to cook with. Eating in space is a bit tricky though because there's no gravity. Things float, so you imagine trying to eat a sandwich and suddenly it floats up. Food packages have to be attached to trays with Velcro. Drinks have to be in pouches and then sucked out through storage. You can't just normally drink, so it go everywhere. Salt and pepper actually come in liquid form because if you shook salt and pepper in space, it'd just float away. Imagine pepper in the air all the time, you'd be sneezing all over the place, wouldn't you? So there's a lot of technology and a lot of thought going into it. So there's an example of what some of the drinks look like, a bit like Capri Suns, aren't they? So you can make a list of some questions there now. Some questions that if you ever met somebody like Tim Peake, Buzz Aldrin, I know obviously Neil Armstrong's passed away now, but if he was still alive, any questions you'd like to ask about him. And you can get some really important stuff down there, what you'd really like to ask them. So, if you were an astronaut, what 5 things would you like to explore in space? Why would you want to go to space? What experience would you look most forward to? How would you feel going to space? And which planet would you go to and why? And what food would you like to have? And then that's the last question there. If you want to have a go at answering them in your books, that's fine. I'm not really sure what's happening now. Go through that, try and answer them if you want. Tell me what you'd like to think. And then afterwards, you should have got, not that one, where is it? No, this one here, when it loads. You should have got 3 examples of that for you to go through and find me 3 astronauts that we're going to write about. I want you to tell me some when it's interesting facts, I want you to tell me some of the stuff that they did. I really want you to go into detail here about the different training that they did. Tell me about the training. Tell me what they did when they were there. You can use Tim Peake and Helen Sharman again. You can use Mae Jemison. You can use Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, Michael Collins. Just search astronauts. You'll be able to find as many as possible. Get some really, really good information down. And I'll be really, really impressed how much detail you can go to. This will help you because we're going to have a section in our magazine about astronauts and space travel. Obviously, if we're writing something about space, we need to talk about the people that have been there, how they've been there, the different things that they did when they got there, and why space travel is so important. Hopefully, you studying these astronauts will help you. So if I wanted to do Tim Peake, I'd write, well, I'll not do Tim Peake, we just studied him. So I wanted to do Neil Armstrong, I'll put him there. I'll use his when he was born, I'll find that out, and then I'll go through his training and the different missions he's been on. I might draw a picture of him there. I might draw a picture of this one down here. Might put a picture of, I don't know, Apollo 11, the spacecraft it was on. If you do need any help with this, my emails are open. Me or Miss Biz can respond to them more or less straight away. So look after yourself, give it a really good go, and we're there if you need to get in touch with us for anything. Alright, take care and goodbye, Year 5.